Hi, this is Stephanie Lotvin of Tellybean Knits, and today I'm going to show you how to work row 9 of clue 1 of the Halloween Party Mystery Knit Along. If you have not yet completed rows 1 through 8, I suggest pausing the video now and coming back and watching this video after you have already completed row 8. I will be showing the cowl in progress, so if you would like to avoid spoiler alerts, this is your opportunity to pause the video. Okay. So I have here rows 1 through 8 of clue 1 completed, and I am ready for row 9. The right side of my work is facing me, and you can see that my working yarn is at the front of my work, and that is where it should be. I'm just going to scoot those stitches down to the end of my needle so that I can start row 9. I'm going to begin by slipping the first stitch purlwise with yarn in front. I'll bring that yarn between my needles to the back of my work. Now I'm going to grab color 1 and I'm going to knit 2 stitches. Then I'll slip the first stitch marker, work a yarn over, and knit 2 stitches. Now you're ready to work the knit 4 below. You're going to count down 4 rows below the first stitch on your left hand needle. So you're going to count down 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to insert your right hand needle into a color 1 stitch. This is the 4th row below the stitch on your left hand needle. So I'm going to insert my needle into that color 1 stitch from front to back. Wrap your yarn as if to knit and pull that yarn through to the front of your work. And then I'm just going to drop that color 1 for just a second while I drop the stitch off of my left hand needle to unravel those rows to complete my knit 4 below. And you can see I now have 4 strands of yarn that are loose. I'm going to pick back up my color 1 and I'm just going to pull some tension onto that stitch so that it is nice and tight. And now I'm going to knit 3. Now I'm ready for another knit 4 below. I'm going to count down 4 rows below the first stitch on my left hand needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm inserting my needle into a color 1 stitch. From front to back, wrap your yarn as if to knit, and then draw a loop through. Drop the stitches off of your left hand needle to unravel those rows, those strands, until you have 4 strands behind that stitch. Pull that stitch tight and then knit 2. Make one right. Slip your stitch marker, knit your central stitch, slip your stitch marker, make one left, knit 2, and then knit 4 below. I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm inserting my needle into a color 1 stitch from front to back, wrap my yarn as if to knit, pull my yarn through, and then drop that stitch off of the left hand needle to unravel those 4 rows. And now I'm going to knit 3, and I'll work my final knit 4 below. So I'm counting down 1, 2, 3, 4, inserting into a color 1 stitch from front to back, wrap my yarn as if to knit, draw a loop through, and then drop those strands off of the left hand needle, unravel those strands so that I have 4 strands. Pull tension on my needle To keep that stitch nice and tight, knit 2, work a yarn over, slip my stitch marker, knit 1, 2, and then knit 2 together. Let me show you what that looks like. And just slide those onto my cable. So now I have completed row 9, and this is the right side of my work. You can see that I'm starting to get some really fun and interesting tension where it's causing puckering that makes these little stitches look like apples. You can see the stem and the body of the apple starting to appear. They're bobbing in our water. And then let me show you the wrong side of the work. This is what the wrong side of the work looks like. It's really fun on both the right side and the wrong side. And it gets more fun as your clue gets larger. So that is how you work clue or row 9. And I'm just going to show you, you have 3 stitches at the beginning, between the beginning of the row and the first stitch marker. You have 11 stitches between the first stitch marker and the second stitch marker. You have 1 stitch between the second stitch marker and the third stitch marker. This is your central stitch. And then you have 11 stitches between your third stitch marker and your final stitch marker. And then you have 3 stitches between your final stitch marker and the end of the row. And so that is how you work row 9. Thank you so much for watching.